Hello everybody, welcome to this instruction video. This video is for part 5 already of the Color Lab cowl. This is the Scheepjes cowl designed by Rachel from Cypress Textiles. Now in part 5 of the Color Lab cowl we're going to be making motifs. Again, we've been making quite a lot of them, especially this center motif and also a few loose triangles. That's what we're going to be making. And you won't be joining them at this point, so it's all about making these motifs. So let's get started with the center of the first motif. Section 1, round 1. I'm going to start with a magic ring. Now here's your working yarn, and this is the end that goes to your ball. So fold this over your fingers, so you have your working yarn goes to the ball on the top. Then go underneath and grab your working yarn and bring it forward. And now you're going to take your magic ring, hold on to it and do a chain just to secure that loop. If you want, you can, there will be a slight twist here between your working yarn and the loop, or actually your yarn tail and the loop I should say. You can undo that if you want. And now if you pull this, your yarn tail, this loop closes. Now in the ring we're going to work 8 double crochets. So in the ring, so covering both your yarn tails, or both the ring and the yarn tail. That's 1, I'm going to do 8 of these, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh, that didn't quite go right, 6, 7, and 8. So you've got 8 doubles there. Then hold on to it a little bit and pull your yarn tail, and then that closes the ring. So there you see the ring. So pull onto this, close this ring. Don't pull too tight because you don't want to break the yarn. And now come to the first stitch there and close on there with a slip stitch. There we go. It's teeny tiny. Now you have 8 double crochets in there. Round 2, we're going to do a small repeat 4 times. I'm going to start in the next stitch, so that's the next stitch. Start in there with a double crochet. Double, then chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the next stitch we make a popcorn, so yarn over, so come to the next stitch, and the popcorn means we make 4 trebles. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back to the first stitch and close. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then come to the next stitch and work a double in there. And this you're going to repeat. Well, actually this double crochet is already the same as that first double, so this was your repeat up until the chain 5. So this double starts the next repeat, so it means we're now going to do a chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then in the next stitch we work a popcorn again. So that is then the first treble of the next popcorn. So this you're going to work all the way round. So this means a popcorn, chain 5, then a double, chain 5, and again a popcorn is going to be alternating the popcorns and the doubles with chain 5s in between. When you're all the way around, you'll have worked a popcorn, then a chain 5, and then close here on this first double, close on here with a slip stitch. So after your last chain 5, you're going to close the round. Round 3, I'm going to start by moving with a slip stitch to the next chain space. Then in this chain space we're going to work 3 trebles. The first treble, of course, a beginning treble, so it's a double and a chain 1, and then 2 more trebles in the same space, 1 and 2. We're now going to start the repeat that you're going to be doing 4 times. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and now come to the next chain space, so there just after the popcorn, and work 3 trebles in there. 1, 2, and 3. So the chain 3 here falls above the popcorn. Then chain 1, and now you're going to skip the double and then come to the next chain space and work 3 trebles in there. 1, 2, and 3. And this you're going to repeat 4 times. So you just did once, so now you need to do 3 more. And on your last repeat you've of course already worked these 3 trebles, so you're not going to be working those. So that means your next repeat is going to be a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and skip the popcorn and come to your next space, and again work 3 trebles in there. Then a chain 1, so the chain 1s are above the doubles and the chain 3s above the popcorns. So go all the way around, and here after you've worked your last chain, close here on the first stitch, which is going to be there, close there with a slip stitch. Round 4, I'm going to start in the same stitch where we're currently in with this slip stitch, and this is also the start of the repeat. Then in the same stitch work a double, so just fold your hook a little bit back for that first double, so that's 1, and also in the next 2 stitches, 2 and 3, so 3 doubles on those first 3 stitches. In the chain 5 space we're going to work 5 doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And now you need to just mark a stitch, and remember normally we mark the corner, which would be the third of those 5, but we're actually now going to mark the stitch just after, so you're going to mark the 4th of those 5 stitches with a marker. So there's the corner stitch, number 3, so you mark number 4. So I know this is not how we've normally done it, but there's a reason for that. Then come along the edge and work a double on the next 3 stitches. This is 1, 2, 3, and then next comes the chain space, work 1 double in here. And this entire row, this little bit, this is your repeat, so do this 4 more times, then you'll be all the way round, and on every corner here you're going to mark that stitch after the corner, so you're going to have 4 markers in, and then you can also close on the first double and fasten off. Row 1 of fill triangle 1. We're going to start in the marked stitch and we're going to work a small triangle on here. So in the marked stitch, now it doesn't matter which marked stitch you take, because it's going to be doing the same on all edges anyway. So take a marked stitch. I'm going to grab this one here and insert and attach there with a slip stitch. Actually, I'm just going to remove that marker, because then I can just get it into that stitch more easily. There. So do keep a track of exactly which stitch that is, and attach there with a slip stitch. There we go. Going to start with the beginning treble 3 together over the current stitch and the next 2 stitches. So in the current stitch, work a double and a chain 1, and then come to the next stitch, draw up a loop, take off 2, and go to the next stitch, draw up a loop, take off 2, 3 loops on your hook, take them all off, chain 1. Now we're going to skip 2 stitches, and then in the center stitch, which should be the double crochet here, going to work a few stitches. So yarn over, because we're going to work a treble. So skipping those 2 stitches, come to the next stitch here in the center, we're going to work a 3 treble cluster. So that's 1 leg. This is in essence a treble 3 together, but all worked in 1 stitch. That's 2, yarn over, and then 3, and take them all off. 1, 2, 3 chains, and in the same stitch again a 3 treble cluster. So yarn over, 1, 2, 3, oh, there you go, 3, and take all 4 loops off. Chain 1, I'm going to skip 2 stitches, so 1, 2 stitches, and then on the next 3 work a treble 3 together. 1, 2, 3, and now we're going to yarn over and take them all off. And at this point there should be 1 stitch left before you get to your next marked stitch. That's correct. Turn your work for row 2. Row 2. Start in the chain 1 space with a double. That's 1. Here in the chain 3 space work 5 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the third of those 5, that's a new corner, so I'm just going to pop a marker in there just to keep track of it. Skip the treble cluster, come to the next chain 1 space and work 1 double in there. And that's it. At this point you can cut your yarn and fasten off. So you've just worked this 1 triangle on one of your edges. Work 3 more on your other edges so that you have 1 on every edge. And this corner stitch here, you'll have 4 unworked corner stitches, and when you've finished all of that you'll have a lot of yarn tails. I'm aware of that. I'm just going to work a few more rounds and then I'll start working these yarn tails away. So repeat on your other 3 edges also. Round 1 of the border section. Start in any one of your 4 unworked stitches, doesn't matter which one. I'm going to start here and in a attach your yarn with a slip stitch. There we go. I'm going to show you the repeat from this corner to this corner, and then that you're going to do all the way round. In the current stitch, so where you're currently in, work a double. So one double on here. Now along this edge, right up to the corner stitch, we're going to evenly distribute 6 doubles. So I'm going to work 3 along this treble 3 together, and then 3 in those stitches. So that's my my plan. So I'm going to work one here, and this is actually the double crochet of the beginning stitch. So that's 1, 2, 3. And I'm just going to come over, and you've got 3 stitches here, so I'm going to work one on each of those 3 doubles. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So you've worked 6 doubles along that edge. Next up here is the corner stitch. This corner gets 3 doubles. I'm going to remove the marker. 1, 2, 3, and then the second of those 3 is your new corner, so I'm going to pop my marker back in there. You're now going to do the same on this edge as you did coming up, so that again means evenly distribute 6 doubles. Now the first 3 stitches I can already just work a double, so that's 1, 2, and 3. And then here along the edge, I'm going to work 3 more. So that's, I'm going to put my hook in there. That's 1, 2, and then 1 more here. 3. And this was in essence the entire repeat, because the next stitch, this here, is a double there, and this double is the same as the one we started with, that one. So now you're going to work again 6 doubles evenly, 3 in the corner, 6 evenly, and then 1 here in the middle. Repeat this all the way around, and after your last set of 6 doubles, close on your first stitch with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off. Round 2, going to attach your yarn. I've got my yarn, there we go, in any of the corner stitches, doesn't matter which stitch. I'm just going to grab this one, and in that corner stitch attach with a slip stitch. There we go. Now the repeat is in the corner you work 3 doubles, and then you work 1 double on every stitch until you get to the next corner, and go all the way round. So where you're currently at in the corner stitch, work 3 doubles, so that's 1, 2, 3, so it's 3 doubles, and again of course that second one is your new corner stitch. And now work a double on every stitch until you get to your next corner, and then repeat. So you're going to do this 4 times in total. You're going to work 4 corners, 4 edges, 3 in the corner, 1 along every stitch, and when you get back to the beginning, close on your first stitch there with a slip stitch. Round 3, I'm going to start by just going with a slip stitch to the corner stitch. Here we go. And in the corner stitch where you're currently in, work a beginning treble. So that's a double followed by a chain 1. The start of the repeat is a chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the same stitch a treble. So this means your corner is a treble, chain 3, and a treble. So this here marks your corner. Along the straight edge to the other side to the other corner, I'm going to work a chain 1, skip a stitch, see here, this first stitch, and come to your second and work a treble. And this you're going to repeat until you're to the other side. So skip a stitch and work a treble. So now done twice, so a few more. So chain 1, skip a stitch and work a treble. Repeat that until you're to the other side. Marker doesn't want to fall. There we go. So you're to the other side, and then I'll see you back for the next corner. Almost to the other side. Chain 1. When you skip a stitch, your next stitch here is the marked corner stitch. And in that corner stitch, skipping one stitch, come to the corner, work a treble. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which is the start of the next repeat, and then of course a treble in the same stitch. And that's your second corner made, and this corner is of course the same as the corner we started with. So this edge and the 4 corners, repeat that all the way around, so on all your other corners. And when you get back to the beginning, you're going to do a chain 1, skip your last stitch, and then close on your first stitch, so on that chain of the beginning stitch with a slip stitch. And then you can also turn your work, because the next round you're going to have the wrong side facing. Round 4, you have the wrong side facing. We're going to start in the next chain space, and in this chain space work a double, and then on the treble we work a double treble. So yarn over twice and work a double, and then in the chain space a double again, and on the treble a double treble. And this you're going to repeat till you're to the corner, and then I'll see you back. So in the chain space a double again. So you see you're making these bobbles, we've done them before. So repeat this till you're to the corner. So I'm to the corner, just done that entire edge. Then in the corner we work a corner we've worked before. So that's a double, then a double treble. Now we do that twice. So then again a double and a double treble. So now I've done these two twice. And then as last another double in the same corner space. So in this space you've worked 5 stitches, a double, double treble, double, double treble, double. And then from the front you've got those 2 bobbles in the corner. And now you're at the same point here where we were when we started this first edge. So repeat all of this all the way around, and after you've worked your last corner, so those last 5 stitches, close here on your first double with a slip stitch, and then you can turn your work almost all the way around to show you the last few stitches. So I've just worked the entire corner here, and then there's of course 1 double treble left here on this very last stitch. So that double treble, because this one is an easy one to forget, this double treble, and then close on your first double with a slip stitch. And now turn your work for the next row. Round 5. In the stitch where you're currently at, work a double crochet in this stitch. So kind of a little bit fold your hook back and work a double. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and between the next two bubbles work a double. So on that double, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and between the next two bubbles, and this is actually the very center stitch, work a double. And here we're now going to create a corner. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and work a double in the same stitch. Now this is to make a corner stitch, so if you want to, you can put a stitch marker in there, because that's your new corner. And now we're going to work chain 3s and doubles all along the edge until we're to our next corner. So chain 3, between the next two doubles, double trebles, work a double on the double. Chain 3 again, and work another double until you're to the other side, until you're here to the corner. And then here between those two bubbles, you're going to do exactly the same corner we just did there. So in that corner stitch, it's a double, chain 3 and double. Go all the way around. When you're here to your first stitch, so after your last chain 3, close on that first stitch, and then you can also fasten off your yarn. Fill triangle 2 of section 2 of a new color yarn, and we're going to start in the center of this edge. So you see here's this square, so that kind of points you to the center, and then exactly that center double there. We're going to start there. So attach your yarn in that center stitch with a slip stitch. You have the right side facing at this point. Then in this stitch we're going to work 5 trebles. First one is of course a beginning treble. It's double and chain 1, and then in that same stitch work 4 more trebles. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I got 5 trebles there in total. The next 2 chain spaces work a double. So this is 1 and 2. There we go. Now turn your work for row 2. Row 2, we're going to skip the first 2 doubles, so those first two, and then come to the treble. So you're going to skip those 2, come here to the treble, and in there work 2 doubles. So 1 and 2. Your next stitch gets 1 double. 1. Your next stitch gets 3. So 3 doubles, 1, 2, and 3, and your second of those 3 stitches is your corner, so you can mark that with a stitch marker. Then come back down on your next stitch, 1 double, and here on your last stitch, which is the beginning stitch, work 2 doubles on there. 1 and 2. Oh, sorry, you're supposed to actually do that the other way around. So first, I'm just going to do that again. Oh, that was correct. See, I'm just hopelessly confused. I did that completely correct. Sometimes the pattern's just very detailed, and then I get a little bit lost in the pattern. So 3 in the corner, 1 and then 2, and then on your last 2 stitches here work a double on each of those. So these 2 chains. So it's the 2 doubles where I was confused with. 1 and 2. There we go. And now we turn for row 3. Row 3, we're again going to skip the first 2 doubles and then come to the 3rd stitch, and in that stitch we're going to work a popcorn. So I'm going to yarn over because it means we're here in this first stitch. I'm going to start with working 4 trebles for the popcorn. 1, 2, 3, 4, and open this up, and we come back to the first stitch and then close the popcorn. Chain 2 and we skip a stitch. I just need a bit more yarn, and then we work another popcorn, so skipping 1 stitch, come to the next and work another popcorn. 1, so again 4 trebles, 2, 3, 4, open this up, come to the first stitch, close the popcorn, and again a chain 2, then we skip a stitch, and then your next stitch should be the corner stitch. So I'm just going to remove the marker. Then in that corner stitch, so skipping the stitch, come to the corner, work a popcorn, work a treble, which is the start of a popcorn. That's a treble, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then work another treble. So treble, chain 3, and the treble. And now we're going to come down and do the same as we did coming up. So that means chain 2, but 1, 2, and then skipping a stitch, so skip 1 stitch, come to the next and work a popcorn. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we just close the popcorn. Chain 2, skip 1 stitch, that means you come here to the last stitch and work a popcorn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then on these 2 chain spaces, a double on each of those. So 1 and 2. Turn again for row 4. Row 4, we again skip these first 2 stitches, then come to the next stitch, which is the popcorn. Just kind of push your hook in there to work the first double, and then in the chain space, so this chain space here, 2 doubles, 1 and 2. On the next one, here's again the popcorn, gets 1 double, and then 2 in the chain space, 1, 2. Next up is the treble, that gets 1 double, and now you're at the corner space. The corner space gets 3 plus 2, or sorry, 2 plus 3 I should say, but 5 in any case. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 5 stitches in there, and if you want you can mark the 3rd one, because that is your corner stitch, the 3rd of those 5. Now come down and do the same as we did coming up. So the next treble here gets 1 double. Then we're at the chain space, which gets 2. 1, 2. The popcorn gets 1. The chain space gets 2. 1, 2. And here that last popcorn gets 1. And now we're going to come to the next 2 unworked chain spaces and a double on each of those. 1 and 2. There we go. Turn for row 5. Row 5. We're again going to skip the first 2 doubles, those first 2, and then come to this 3rd stitch. And then there we start with a treble. So in that stitch start with a treble. Go to chain 2, and then in the same stitch work a 3 treble cluster. So that's in essence the same as a treble 3 together, but worked in 1 stitch. So I'm going to yarn over, and then the first leg of the cluster, yarn over. This is the second leg, yarn over. And this is the 3rd leg, and then take them all off. We're going to move along the edge up with a chain 2, 1, 2, skipping 2 stitches, then work again a 3 treble cluster. So 1, 1, 2 skip, then come to the 3rd stitch, and again one of these clusters. So 1, 2, 3, and take them all off. We do this again. So chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, then in the 3rd stitch work again a cluster, 1, 2, 3, then we take them off. Then what? Chain 2, skipping 2 stitches. The next stitch should be your marked corner stitch. So I'm just going to remove the marker. And in there again a cluster. So chain 2 skip, and then come to the 3rd stitch, and we work another cluster. 2, 3, and take them all off. Now we're going to work the corner space. So that's a chain 3, so chain 3, and in the same stitch work another cluster. 1, 2, 3, and take them all off. So you can see how that is your new corner. Now we're going to come down and do the same we did coming up. So we're going to work more of those clusters. So again, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, 1, 2 stitches, and then come to the 3rd for a cluster stitch. 2, 3, take them all off, chain 2, 1, 2, skip 1, 2 stitches, come to the 3rd, and work a cluster. So this is exactly the same as on the first edge, but we're just working in reverse order. That's the only difference really. Chain 2, 1. Sometimes it just slips off my hook. 2, and now skipping 2 stitches, it brings us to the last stitch on this edge. So 1, 2, skip the last stitch here. So then we work a treble cluster on here, a 3 treble cluster, 2, 3, take them all off, and now the last stitch is again a chain 2 and a treble in the same stitch. So here in this same space, stitch where you just work that first one, work a treble. Going to come to the next 2 loops, a double on the first one and a double on the second one. There we go. Turn for the last row of the triangle. Row 6. Going to again skip the first 2 stitches, then come to the next one, which is going to be the treble here, work a double crochet on that stitch. Come to the space and work 2 in this space, 2 doubles, 1, 2. The next space gets 3 doubles, so I'm going to do alternatingly 2 and 3. So 1, 2, 3. The next space 2 doubles, 1, 2, and then the next space 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3. Next here is at the top, this is where you should be now. Going to do 5 doubles in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the center one of those, that's the double. Oh, sorry, that's the corner. That's center double, number 3. That's the corner. Now we're going to come down and do the same we did coming up. So that means the next space gets 2 doubles, 1, 2, then 3 doubles, 1, 2, 3. Next space gets 2, 1, 2, and then there's 1 space here, of course, on the other side. That one gets 3. 1, 2, 3. Your last treble, here this very last stitch, 1 more double on there. There we go. And then we're going to finish here on this last edge with a double crochet on the last 2 loops. So 1 and 2. The corner loop here, that corner stitch, that one is left unworked. You can cut your yarn and fasten off. So you've just worked this first triangle on one of your edges, and this triangle you need to now repeat on the other 3. So in the center stitch of all of these edges, so here on the center, that's where you're going to start all of your next triangles, and then these 6 rows, repeat that on all of them, and your exact corner stitches, those 4 corner stitches, they will remain unworked. That's correct. For now, repeat this on your other 3 sides. When you've completed the other triangles, your work looks like this. You have a square again, and now we're going to start with the border section. Border round 1, so this is the border section round 1. I have the same color yarn as for the triangles on my hook, and we're going to start in any one of the 4 marked corners. Doesn't matter which one you choose. So I'm just going to take this one here. Just remember where the stitch is. So I'm just going to remove the mark, because then it's just easier to attach the yarn in that stitch with a slip stitch. Otherwise the marker is just a little bit in the way. There we go. So attach in there with a slip stitch. In that corner stitch, going to work 3 double crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, and mark the third stitch with a, the second of the 3. Mark that with a marker, because that's your new corner. We're now going to work here along the edge of the square. Along this first triangle, we're going to work 14 double crochets. Now, it's actually, if you just count the stitches, there are 13 there. So that means we need to just work one extra somewhere. I'm just going to work it here halfway about. So 14 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7. So I'm just going to work an extra stitch in here. So now it's 8. So that's 2 in the 1 position. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and the last one here, in the last stitch, it's 14. So it's 14 doubles, and it's just a bit evenly distributed, and it doesn't really matter where you work that 14th stitch. We're now going to here over the corner of the previous motif. In this first chain space, there's already a stitch in there, there's a slip stitch in there. Work 3 doubles. That's 1, 2, 3. Then 1 here, right in the corner chain, 1 double. And come to the next chain space, there's again already a stitch in there, 3 doubles in there. 1, 2, and 3. We're now going to come along the next triangle and again work 14 doubles here up to the corner. Now this triangle has 15 stitches because you have these first 2 here also. And I'm going to skip the first one and then come to the second, and that's then my first stitch. That's then 1, here's 2, I'm just going to keep on counting, 3, and 4, 5, I'll just continue this with you, 6, 7, because often I edit this out, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and here the last one, 14, should fall just before the corner. So 14 doubles. And then your next stitch is your corner stitch, and in this stitch we're going to work 3 doubles again. And this is then the start of the next edge. So 1, 2, 3, and then again that second one there is the corner, and this is of course the start of the next edge. And now you're going to repeat everything along this edge that we did here on the first edge. So repeat this 3 more times, and here when you're finished you're going to close on your first stitch on that first double there with that slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off your yarn. Round 2 of the border, I'm going to start in any marked corner stitch. In the corner stitch you work 3 doubles, and then you work 1 double across to every stitch to the other side. That's 37. That's what this round is, and then do that of course all the way around. So in any marked corner stitch, just attach there with a slip stitch. In this same stitch work 3 doubles. So that's 1 and 2, 3, and as like I said, the second one is your new corner. Just pop the marker in there, and now it's just a double on every stitch. So this is a nice easy round, so 37 across, and when you get to your next corner you work 3 doubles in there, etc, etc, and when you come back here you close on your first stitch with a slip stitch, and then leave your yarn attached for round 3, which we're going to be doing in the same color, and round 3 also has this right side facing, so leave it like this. Round 3, going to move with a slip stitch to the corner, so that's the marked stitch. So just move up 1 stitch. There we go. Now in the corner we're going to work a treble, chain 3 and a treble. Now the first treble is of course a beginning treble. It's a double and a chain 1. Then chain 3, this is your new corner. And in the same stitch work another treble. This is your new corner stitch. So treble, chain 3, treble. Now going to work all the way to the other side, chain 1, skip a stitch and a treble, and do that 20 times. So chain 1, skip 1 stitch, then come to the next and work a treble. And then chain 1, skip a stitch and work a treble, and repeat this till you're to the other side. So I've now worked this twice, so repeat this, chain 1, skip a stitch all the way until you're here, and then I'll just see you back for the corner. Almost, well, to the other side. I've got 1 stitch left, and then there's the corner, so that's chain 1, skipping that last stitch before you get to the corner, skip that stitch, and here work a treble. This treble is then number 20 of the repeat. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and in the same stitch work a treble, which is the start of your next repeat. And this corner is the same as the corner we started with. So on your next edge repeat everything we just did, so all these stitches, and when you're back to all the way around, close on your first stitch. That'll be your beginning treble with the slip stitch. At the end of round 3, when you're in that first stitch, just go with a slip stitch to the chain 3 space. There we go. That'll just help you to work the next few stitches. And now turn your work for row 4. Round 4, you have the wrong side facing, so that's important. We're going to start here in the corner stitch, so in that chain corner space. We're going to have to work a little bit backwards, kind of. We're going to start in there with a double. First a double crochet, then a double treble, 1, 2, 3, and then again a double treble, 1, 2, 3, and a double, all in that same space, and that creates these 2 little bubbles again on the front. So it's a double, double treble, double, double treble, double. And the center stitch, if you want to, you can mark that as the corner. That's the center double crochet between the 2 bubbles. Now along this edge we're going to repeat what we've done before on other rounds. On the trebles you work a double treble. So first stitch here is a double treble. And that didn't quite go quite right. I missed a loop. Let me just do that one again. That's maybe easiest. So on the first treble, a double treble. and I missed it again, and 3, and then in the chain space a double, and on the treble a double treble, 2, 3, and in the chain space a double. And this you're going to repeat all the way to the other side. That's going to create all these bubbles again like you've done before, all the way to here. And when you're here, you work the same corner as you did there. So in here you're going to work 5 stitches again, so a double, double treble, double, double treble, double, just like you worked here. And again, the center stitch of those is the corner. So go all the way around. So this pattern is very similar to what we've done before. And when you're, after you've worked your last double treble here, just close on your first stitch with a slip stitch. That's a double crochet. It's kind of a bit hidden there, but there's the double. Close on that with a slip stitch. I'm currently in the first stitch there with a slip stitch. Then just move 2 stitches to the corner stitch. So I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch, which is here the double treble, and then slip stitch into the corner space, the marked stitch. There we go. And now you can turn your work for round 5. Round 5, just going to start with in the corner space, so where we're currently at. In there work a double, that's a little bit backwards, so it's a double, then chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This chain 3 is a corner, and then in the same stitch work another double. So this makes a small corner stitch. You can mark that with a stitch marker if you want. Now along the straight edge, chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skipping the bobble, come to the chain space or to the double crochet and work a double in there. Again, chain 3 and a double in the double. This we've done before, so repeat this all the way until you're to your next marked corner stitch. I'm almost to the end of the row. I have here, or this edge I should say, I have here all these chain 3 spaces, and the next stitch is my corner stitch. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then in the marked stitch, so with the stitch marker work a double, chain 3 and a double again, so to make a new corner. There we go. Now, and this you're going to repeat all the way around, because now you've worked this entire edge. So, and when you're back at the beginning, close on your first stitch, that's that first double. There it is, that first double, close on there with a slip stitch. Round 6, last round of this border. You just start in the chain corner space, so this corner space with 5 doubles. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the third one of those 5, that's your corner. I'm just going to mark that with a marker. Along the first edge, we're going to work in the first 11 chain spaces, we work 2 doubles. So in every chain space, so this here is the first one, so 1, 2 doubles, then come to the next and work 2 doubles, and we do this 11 times. So this was the second time. Again, 2 doubles, this is the third time, and I just continue. This is the fourth. This is 10, and this is 11. I think it's 11. Let me just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yes, so in 11 chain spaces we've worked 2 doubles. Then in the next chain space only 1 double. So this is a slightly different. So only 1 double in this chain space. And now in the next 11 spaces, which should bring you to the corner, again 2 doubles on every space. So 2 doubles. So this is the first one. And do keep counting them, that you make sure that you have the correct number of stitches. This is 2 until we're to the corner. This is 3. 11 spaces. 2 doubles in each. And if everything went right, the next space should be your corner space. And in there again 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of course the third one is again a new corner, so I'm just going to mark that. Well, and now you're at the same place we were when we started, so go all the way around, and when you get back here, close on your first double with a slip stitch, and then you can also fasten off. For sections 3 and 4, you're actually going to repeat items from part 2. You're going to repeat the rectangles and the triangles from part 2. So I want to invite you to go back to the videos and the pattern, also the written pattern from part 2, and continue from there. So you're going to be building on here, and I'll show you what that looks like when it's finished. And when you've completed all of those triangles and rectangles, this is what your work looks like. So you see here is the one that we just finished with, that's this. And then you've worked 4 of these triangles and 4 of these triangles on your work. And then you've completed the first motif. So this is motif number 1, center motif number 1 that you've just made, and you now need to do exactly the same for your second motif. So this color placement is slightly different, but yeah, for the rest it's exactly the same. So everything that you just did for number 1, repeat that also for a second one, from center motif number 2. Row 1 of the edge motif, so these are going to become triangles. So I'm just going to put my yarn on my hook, and now we're going to start with a very long chain, chain 74. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to continue until you have 74 chains. And for the video purposes only, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to assume that this is 74. Of course it's not, but I'd just like to show you how to continue. When you have 74 chains, you're going to skip the first chain, it's that one, which does not count as a stitch, then come to the second and work a double crochet in there. And then come to the next stitch and work a double. And you're going to continue that until you're right back at the beginning. And then you're going to have like this base row of stitches. You're going to have a base row of 73 double crochets, which you can then use to build the rest of your work on. Because at this point, let me just work until the end. So like I said, this is not 73 stitches. These are maybe 10 or 12 stitches. But the idea is the same. So until you're to the end. So now you've got a double crochet in every stitch. And then you're going to have a piece of fabric that looks like this, only much longer. And this is going to be your base for working your filled triangles, repeating from part 2. So you're going to have a very long row of stitches like this. And now you're going to build your triangles here again, filled triangle 11 from part 2. So continue with repeating part 2. I'll just show you what it looks like when you're finished. And after you've worked that long row of double crochets, continue with the rest of the triangle, which is again a repeat of everything we've done before. So this is a repeating filled triangle 11 from part 2. So this is all that you're going to repeat for the rest of the triangle. You've just worked one triangle. Now do exactly the same for a second triangle. Even your color placement is the same. So work an exact identical copy again. And that's it. When you've worked all of the motifs, there's no joining them at this time. We're going to do that next time in part 6. But for now you've got all these motifs. Work away all your yarn tails. There are quite a lot of them. I do always just leave the top one to make it easier when I join, so then I'd work this away later. But for the rest, all those yarn tails, especially the ones that were to the back of your center motif, work all of them away, and then you've completed part 5. So thank you for watching, and see you again next time for part 6.